What defines adulthood? For millennials, the definition has changed. It's not so much about age, but financial independence. But considering 25% of millennials are over $30,000 in debt, including 11% who are over $100,000 in debt, our younger generation may never become adults. They'll be living in our basements forever, which is why it's time for a financial reality check in this week's Life in Balance.
Welcome to the real world, the gymnasium at Nampa's Skyview High.
That would give you about $567.
Now the way to fix your credit is to always pay all your bills on time.
So you're paying $532 a month.
Where students step out of class and into this reality financial fair to learn practical lessons in personal finance.
There you go. There you go.
First, they're handed a preset occupation and a monthly salary, along with a credit score.
Enjoy. Make sure you guys stop at the end, okay?
They could be an airline pilot, a bailiff, nursing aide, maybe a post-secondary communications teacher. Real jobs with real Idaho-based salaries.
So hopefully at the very end you're going to have some cash left over, okay guys?
Then comes navigating through the cost of living. Each table representing a different cost of living, from transportation and recreation to housing. At the housing table, students choose what's best for their budget, rent or buy, and they learn how a bad credit score affects their mortgage rate.
Never become 30 days past due, and over time your credit score will begin to rise.
Senior Esme Galvin tells me her occupation is an art director, making about $3,100 a month.
An art director?
Yes.
Did you ever think you'd be an art director?
No, I'm actually really bad at art, so.
Okay.
Esme decides to first tackle household expenses. She needs to choose, ideally based on her budget. Does she eat out all the time, cook at home, or a little of both? She can save $450 a month if she eats at home.
And I did not know it was that expensive, so that was a little bit shocking.
The money she saves by eating at home could help her pay down her student loan. Student loan debt is the second most prevalent type of debt among millennials. Number one is credit card. Car loans and medical expenses are also factors. 3 in 10 millennials have less than $1,000 in their personal savings. A quarter have no savings at all.
Let's see what I have in store.
Which is not good, especially when life happens, say an unexpected event.
Four.
Wah, wah, wah.
Is that bad?
It's bad. So
Oh
you
my
filed your
gosh.
tax return and you owe the IRS $450.
Esme is like the 42% of millennials who say they'd have difficulty paying for an unexpected bill.
Like now I made all those choices and I might want to go back, but I don't know.
But in the real world, you can't always go back. The money choices you make today can change your tomorrow, good or bad. A tough lesson to learn even for those of us already in the real world.
And we see it on a day-to-day basis within the credit unions. We see a lot of folks vary from different ages that just don't know about credit, didn't learn it. And so we found that it was imperative that we get in the school system and we really bring this to them and make it reality for them so that when they get out, they understand.
It's something that I need to look into, and it really just opened my eyes. There's so many different factors you need to think of when it comes to financing, and this workshop really helped me.
The Financial Reality Fair was hosted by the Southwest chapter of Idaho Credit Unions. They've been hosting the fair for 5 years now at various high schools. And if you're curious, you kind of commented on this during the story, economics is a requirement for high school graduation in Idaho.
Right.
Students must take one credit. One of the goals, just the goals, it's not necessarily a requirement in the class, is that they explain and learn about the concepts of personal finance, among other topics. So,
But you remember our economics classes in high school and even in college.
I
We didn't
do.
learn how to balance a
No.
checkbook.
No.
We learned, about market shares
Yeah,
and about
exactly.
GDP and those sorts
Yeah.
of things. This is so smart, and
It
you're
is.
seeing this more and more, aren't you?
it was really an eye-opener for Esme and some of the other students that I kind of followed around, because they learned in the beginning, they look at all this money they're making, and
Yeah.
that was real Idaho-based salaries, which I
Right.
thought was really cool. And they would go to these tables and think, oh, I can eat out. Well, then they go to the next household expense, you know, or maybe life happens and they get thrown a curveball and then they want to go back, but you can't always go back.
And I love that she said, I didn't realize it cost that much to eat out.
Yes, it does.
You will, for sure.
Remember, economists called it the latte factor back in the early
I do
2000s
remember
when that was such a big thing.
Yeah, $250 a day. Just think what you could save in your IRA for that.
But were your parents good to sit down and talk to you about personal finance, or did you just learn once you got out in the real world?
My mother's watching right now, so I'm going to say yes.
Okay, no. Mom.
No.
My mom, you know, I don't think they really did either. I mean, I remember sitting down the first time trying to balance a checkbook. She went over that with me. But as far as like budgeting and planning and saving for retirement, and of course, a lot of you at home are probably going, hey, we're not making that much money, you know, to be able to save some for retirement. But remember, I interviewed another money manager, Whitney is her name, and she talked about even if you can just save $3 or $5 a month, just something, and especially starting with high schoolers, if they can start saving now, boy, when they get our age, they'll have a lot in the bank.
And don't be afraid to get your teenager a debit card. They learn how to put money in because they can't take it out unless there's money in there.
Okay.
Right?
Sounds like you're talking from experience.
That's right.